I would like to say a few things about a course that I have published recently, but this is not just about the course itself, which is different from the courses that I have recorded in the past, and I will tell you a bit more in a moment. But it's also about the fact that over the last year or so, you could say year and a half, I changed my way of studying physics simply because I also like to experiment with new systems, new ways of approaching physics and mathematics as well. Possibly also engineering, but engineering is another story. At the end of the day, I am an engineer, but if you have had the chance to know my methods and so on and so forth, you know that I am really passionate about mathematics and physics, and in particular, advanced topics in mathematics and physics. So I started recording my courses, for example, by using a whiteboard and writing down my own derivations, my own equations, and I still like doing that. But over the last year, and also other people, of course, have been affected also, have been influenced by these incredible new tools that we have related to AI, so related to artificial intelligence. And for example, in this advanced course that I have created, which is titled Path Integrals on Curved Spaces, Geometry, SU2 and SU3, whatever. So it's some kind of advanced topic on path integrals on curved spaces. So it's advanced because I'm dealing with path integrals, but it's even more advanced because these path integrals are taken in curved spaces. So usually you start in quantum mechanics discussing path integrals, but in flat space. In this case, we are really digging deeper and we are in curved spaces. But apart from that fact, I mentioned at the beginning of this course in the introduction, for example here, so I have uploaded a few videos where I discussed the fact that I started from my own notes about this subject, and in particular I was inspired by a book written by a physicist, and I will not mention everything here as well in this video because it's not really the point. That's not the point. The point is that I started writing down my own notes, and then over the last year or so I started creating PDFs also with the help of AI, starting from my own notes. And for example, this is one of the results that I achieved. I was able to, with some trial and error, I was able to create a set of notes that are very useful if you want to study the topics related to this subject here. And then from the notes, I was able to also create some videos, and in particular, those videos were created with the help of AI in the sense that I used Python and Manim to generate the videos, and also with some trial and error here as well. So for example, here I have an example on, so I'm going to open a video related to the derivation of normal coordinates. So for example, let me start this video.
In this lesson we build normal coordinates directly after the discussion of geodesics and curvature.
So we have already, in the previous videos, we have derived some concepts. I will not go through the details here. It's not really important. I just want to show you the method. Don't focus on the topics here. Just focus on the method. So let's just watch a few seconds here.
The goal is not only to state the final formulas, but to show why the connection vanishes at the chosen point, why the metric has no linear term there, and how curvature enters the first non-trivial local correction. These formulas will later be used in the local analysis of the Van Vleck-Moret factor and the heat kernel. Choose a point on the configuration manifold. At that point, choose an orthonormal basis in the tangent space.
So let me stop for a moment. This part of the video is related to some part that we have here in the PDF. Let me see if I can find it. It's more or less here, but let me see. Okay, so it's here. We are talking about normal coordinates, and in particular the derivation of normal coordinates, which is very important in this subject, so I will not discuss the technical details behind this. And we go through a derivation. So you have the video format of the derivation, you have the derivation itself. Sometimes in the video I have put more details because maybe some intuition, in my opinion, was lacking, so it was not present in the video itself. So I constructed this in the following manner. So we follow the PDF, the video, and whenever necessary, we can stop the video, we can pause the video at a certain equation, for example, and at the same time, if necessary, we can also write down on a piece of paper. So, in my opinion, one of the best ways to learn advanced physics and mathematics, but not just advanced, also just regular concepts that you have in even basic courses, the most important way for me to understand a topic is to write it down on a piece of paper. If you want, you can also write it down on a blackboard or on a whiteboard, on a digital whiteboard or on a digital blackboard if you want. So I would say personally that I do not really favor writing on digital devices because maybe you can be distracted by the fact that you receive some notifications. But also if you have a phone nearby, you can also be distracted. So the best way to learn is to not have many distractions. So you should try to give yourself time to think and to not get distracted by electronic devices. So that's really important in my opinion. That's what I would suggest. That's what I would advise to young students, but even to researchers. And of course, you have to find your own methods. I personally studied, I started studying in the early 2010s, so 2010. I mean, real physics and real mathematics. And it was just the beginning of the era of smartphones and so on. So I didn't even have a smartphone, but I started studying on books, and I really loved to study using books. And sometimes it was quite hard because, for example, not everything was written in a derivation of a certain physical or mathematical concept. So it was not always easy, and sometimes you might even get stuck for hours trying to find the way to justify what was written on a textbook, because a certain equation was not derived step by step. So the textbook at some point might even say, well, it's easy to see that. It's easy to derive this equation starting from this. So nowadays, the phenomenal thing, at least related to mathematics and physics, in my opinion, is the fact that you have some phenomenal tools regarding artificial intelligence. So you might even ask a chatbot like ChatGPT, Claude, whatever. You can ask them to fill in the gaps. So you might ask them to derive a certain concept in a way that's easier, for example, for you to follow, because you might lack some prerequisites to follow everything written on a book. So this is incredible nowadays. Just thinking about what happened 1 or 2 years ago. So now, as I'm recording this video, it's 2026, but in 2025, okay, we had already reached a good level, but in 2024, these chatbots would make lots of mistakes in mathematics and physics. And beware, they are still making mistakes here and there. They can still make mistakes. And now we are talking about physics and mathematics, but if you try to use them for really niche topics related, for example, to engineering, but also other branches. So, as I said, I'm an engineer, so I tried to test them also in some branches of mechanical engineering. And well, related to engineering and also the industrial world, in my opinion, they still have a lot to do. They still have a lot to improve. And they will. I'm sure that they will, because there are new and new improvements every month or so, or even at a faster rate than that. But in mathematics and physics, we are already reaching a point where these systems are making or providing contributions on very advanced topics, which have not been solved for many years. And I'm aware of that, and I'm aware that they will still keep improving, and our society will be completely changed because of that. And we do not see, we are not capable of seeing everything. So we are not capable of predicting how the future will be in many respects. But that said, this is a new way for me to be able to teach a topic, but at the same time also to study it. So in my opinion, my future self, so the future version of myself, will resort to this in the following manner. So for example, if I want to refresh my memory on a topic, for example, related to, in this case, normal coordinates or the derivation of normal coordinates, and I might lack something in the derivation because I do not remember it. And of course, this might happen because physics and math are very advanced topics. They contain lots of advanced topics, and not everything can be completely memorized, not every step. So, of course, you have the logic. You should have the logic. That's the most important thing. So, if you have the logic, you can reconstruct the steps. But sometimes there are technical steps that you might forget. And a good way for me to approach the topics in a faster manner would be to consult the PDF, a PDF, for example, a book. It may also be a book, but in this case, I already have the PDF because I have made it, I have created it, and I also have a video. So if I want to watch a video, that might be, let's say, an easier way for me to approach the topic if I don't remember something, because maybe the video is more digestible, for example. So I created the video, so you can hear the voice.
That quadratic correction with
The voice is an automatic voice. I chose the pitch and so on, but it's automatic. So the script was created with the help of AI, and I gave the information to AI. So I provided AI with the right amount of information to construct the video. So sometimes there are also sentences that are not completely natural. So that's a disadvantage of using AI sometimes, because you would not have, for instance, said or pronounced a certain sentence like that, or you would not have explained the topic in exactly the same manner. But that's some price to pay. So I did not waste too much time on the narration. I decided to give more time to the derivations. So I wanted to focus more on the mathematics and physics rather than focusing on the way in which to express a certain idea. So I prefer to focus on the math. That's the thing that I'm passionate about. So sometimes you might have difficulty in explaining a certain topic in a certain manner because maybe you don't find the right words. You would like to convey the topic in a certain manner, but it's hard. And I'm not saying that you should not do that, because actually that's the best way, in the sense that if you are able to explain a topic in an acceptable manner or in an understandable manner that could be more digestible to a student, well, it means that you have understood the topic more deeply. It can be, right? But here, either, or actually I should say both I do not have the time that I used to have in the past, and I do not have the same amount of patience that I used to have in the past. So I prefer to focus and enjoy the mathematics and physics that I like to study, rather than focusing on the explanation itself. I don't know if I have conveyed the idea, but nowadays I have to choose. I cannot do everything. I don't have the same amount of time that I used to have in the past. So that's the result. That's what came out of this kind of experimentation, let's say, this kind of experiment. And let me also stress the fact that the course that you see here on path integrals on curved spaces and others as well, they were not created with the intent of selling them. So I don't really care about the sale of such courses, because you might understand that, I mean, these courses are not really profitable. These ones on Udemy and others, they are advanced courses for niche students who are interested. And my personal gratification, of course, would be to teach something interesting to other students, to inspire other people if possible. And I understand that what I teach might not be suited or liked by everyone. So, for example, some students of mathematics who like to prefer like technical derivations or formal derivations, they might dislike some of the videos that I made in the past, for example, because I tend to favor some informal mathematical intuition rather than justifying every mathematical step in a very mathematician-like manner, so in a very formal manner. I prefer some informal way of describing physics or of explaining physics, and I'm aware that not everybody might like it, and that's one point. But other people who, for example, love to understand physics even mathematically, but not with the mathematical rigor of a mathematician, might instead like these topics, really love them. And I have, of course, received lots of positive feedback and sometimes even negative feedback. So it's not really that's the point. So that's not the point. Because, as I said, these videos are have to be enjoyed by me, and if possible I would like to convey something positive. I mean, I would like to teach these topics and to inspire students or those people who would like to understand more about such advanced topics. So that's what I wanted to say in this video, and hopefully I got the ideas across. So thank you for watching.